Oh, we're going to wait a minute until everyone is seated on our dais. So good evening anyways. How's everyone today? Good. Everyone have a good day? Thumbs up. Oh, yeah. Anyone kind of like this today? Don't worry, tomorrow's Wednesday. It's like we're there, right? So. Thank you, Michelle. I was going to have to ask people to start telling jokes, and I didn't know that they would appreciate that or not. So thank you for joining us. Again, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. It is roughly 7:30 p.m., and here we go. Let's get this going. We're going to begin this evening by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we're going to remain standing, and we're going to have words of inspiration tonight by Pastor Ramsey Fakuri from Grace Apostolic Church.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Fakuri, I just have to tell you, that sounded so amazing from up here to see hear that many people say the Pledge of Allegiance in this place. Good job.
Well, hello and good evening, esteemed council members. I count it a high honor to be before you this evening for this opportunity. I'm grateful to be a resident of Clawson. I'm grateful for all the work that you do. Today I was driving, and as it just hit me that as we gather this evening to make decisions that affect our community, I'm reminded of a moment during the Constitutional Convention of 1787, a long time ago. After weeks of debate, Benjamin Franklin, who was 81 years old at the time, stood and reminded the delegates of this. He said, "God governs in the affairs of men, and if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid?" His words came when our nation's founders realized that human wisdom was just simply not enough. They needed divine guidance just as we do today. And that same timeless wisdom is found in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6, where it states, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." As we begin this meeting, may we pause and acknowledge God's presence, to seek his wisdom above our own, and to remember that every decision we make here, no matter how small, has the power to shape lives. If you would, let's pray. Lord Jesus, we love you today, and we thank you for your goodness and your mercy. God, I pray for your blessing over the city of Clawson and over our great nation, God, the greatest nation in the world. God, I pray your divine favor, Lord, and I pray that you would bless, Lord, the conversation and the decisions that would be made today. Your will be done in all things, and we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much. Michelle, may we have a roll call?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Mayor Milan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt.
Present.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
And Councilmember Shepherd.
Here.
Thank you. We are all present. Would someone like to make a motion to approve our agenda?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda for Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffitt.
Yes.
Councilmember Scott.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Thank you. We have approved our agenda. We'll move to the next item, which is public comment for items that are on the agenda. If you would like to speak this evening to any item that is on our agenda, we ask that you approach the microphone, and we would appreciate it if you would give your name and your address. We will allot you 3 minutes to speak. The council and administration will not be engaging with you at this time, but please feel free to approach staff or council after the meeting with any concerns that you may have. Your comments are expected to be respectful in nature. Personal attacks will not be tolerated, but we do want to hear what you have to say. So is there anyone who would like to speak to an item that is currently on our agenda this evening?
Hi, Jamie Gills, Takanochi. I just wanted to talk about item 9B, the on-street parking ordinance. I'm really glad that this is being brought up. I know that a lot of families are affected by not being able to either widen their driveways for the cars that they have in their homes or not have enough room. And I believe that this permit parking is a great idea, and I'd like to thank the resident who brought it to our attention and who also went to other places to see what they were doing and brought solutions with her as well. So I'm very excited, and I hope that you will give this serious consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Angela Hamilton. I live on South Manitou. I'm also here for the parking permit in lieu of my sister-in-law who got Tigers tickets luckily. So she was the one that brought this up. So I just want to say I think it's a great idea, especially like with Berkeley that has all the different stipulations. Because I know there's a concern of keeping Clawson how it is. But if we can think about outside the box of where we can still make it happen, but still keep the streets clean too.
Thank you. Your sister will be proud of you. Anyone else for items that are on the agenda this evening? Okay, then we'll close public comment at this time and move to proclamations and presentations. This evening, we have an introduction and ceremonial swearing in of Patrol Officer Sydney Ratke. Good evening, Chief Bouse.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. This is Officer Sydney Radke. We are excited to add her to our police force this year. She grew up in Macomb County and is a graduate of Dakota High School. She is a 2025 graduate of Macomb Community College, where she received her associate's degree and recently graduated from the Police Academy. So we're excited to have her added to our team. In her spare time, she enjoys soccer, tennis, and doing puzzles. But yeah, she's gonna be a great addition. She's already done a week of orientation, and if you can welcome her to her community, we would appreciate it. She's ready to do her formal swearing.
Wonderful. Mom, I'm assuming, feel free to come up here and take pictures so that you can get good photos. Don't be shy.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I can.
Sorry.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this state,
the Constitution of the state,
the Charter of the City of Clawson,
the Charter of the City of Clawson,
and that I'll faithfully perform the duties
that I'll faithfully perform the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
in and for the City of Clawson,
and for the City of Clawson,
County of Oakland,
County of
and
Oakland,
State of Michigan,
and State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank
Thank you.
Sydney, thanks for choosing Clawson, and we wish you a long, healthy, safe career.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have our County Commissioner Penny Lubes, who's here to introduce our youth assistance caseworker, Reagan Rockwell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It is my honor as Clawson Youth Assistance Chair, along with our board member, Lisa Sturdivant, who's here in the audience with us, and our Mayor Paula, who's also on the Youth Assistance Committee, to present our new Youth Assistance caseworker, Reagan Rockwell. So Reagan's been with us since July, and she's been out and about getting to know different pieces of Clawson, our police liaison officer, our school staff, and various community leaders. Youth Assistance began in 1953 in Hazel Park. It's tri-sponsored by the county, the school, and the city. It was so successful in Hazel Park that other communities in Oakland County began a youth assistance office. So presently, all the cities, villages, and townships in Oakland County have a youth assistance office. And our office in Clawson started in 1960. So we have been around for some time. We do a variety of things. One of our missions is to strengthen families in the community. One way we do that is through family recreation activities, bringing parent and child together. We have an upcoming trick-or-treat trail on October 18th. It's a Saturday this year from 6 to 7:30 at Clawson City Park. We'll have about 35 businesses and community groups to hand out candy on the wood chip trail, followed by donuts and cider underneath the pavilion that's sponsored by Parks and Rec. So I would encourage you all to come out, enjoy the fun decorations. We'll have a strolling magician and entertainment from Detroit Circus to keep everyone occupied while waiting in line. Some years we have up to 2,000 kids, so lots of people. No parking in the park from 3 to 8, and that's for the safety of the children. Hopefully it'll be a nice warm day for us, but we'll see. Other activities we do are sending kids to camp. We do parent education classes. We have skill building, which means assistance to people who aren't able to afford activities or sports gear for their child, something that will improve the child's life. But I've talked enough. I'm going to let Reagan tell us a little bit more about herself. So thank you.
Thank you, Penny. So you already know my name, Reagan Rockwell. I've been with Oakland County for 12 years, and I've served, when I first came on staff, I served split between Avondale and Pontiac, being in 2 offices. After 2 years, I was moved up to Brandon and Holly for 7 years, and I was split between those offices. And then I went to Waterford, a single office for a couple of years, and then I was split between Lakes and Pontiac for a year. And now I'm here in Clawson, and I'm split between Clawson and Pontiac, but they've given Clawson an additional day. You guys were a 2-day assignment, and now it's a 3-day assignment. So I look forward to being here. I've just had a pleasure of meeting so many of you, and I look forward to meeting many, many more of you. Like Penny said, they've got a lot of great programs, and I really do look forward to building the caseload here in Clawson and being able to support the school staff, families. The Early Childhood Center is where my office is located at 313 Red Ruth. Beautiful Early Childhood Center. If you haven't had a chance to see it or utilize it for your children, I highly recommend it. Great staff over there. It's been fun to meet some of the school staff and see that so many of your staff in the area, even here at City, get to walk to work. So that's something that I'm not used to, being in some of the more rural areas and maybe even the city where they don't have great transportation. So I do look forward to meeting you, and I look forward to serving here while I'm here, and I look forward to being here for hopefully a while. I know you guys have had some turnover with case workers in the area, and I just have to say that really the county, they try to put whoever is best suited to an area in an area, so I hope to earn back some of your guys' trust. I can't help kind of the moves in and out, but I hope that the county has instilled some faith in you by giving you an additional day. Not a full-time caseworker yet, but maybe in the future if we build up that caseload. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Would you-
Next, we have something kind of exciting. It is a proclamation recognizing the life of service of Maury Lysing. Maury, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So, whereas Maury Lysing moved to Clawson in 1958 to become a faithful and long-standing parishioner of Guardian Angels Catholic Church, to raise his family, and to live what turned into his life of service to our country and the Clawson community. And whereas Maury Lysing attended Purdue University in Lafayette, Indiana, and graduated with honors in 1958. And whereas Maury Lysing, after being selected as one of the first students of the Chrysler Institute, had an accomplished career as an automotive engineer with Chrysler for over 50 years. In 1990, Maury and 2 coworkers were awarded the Invention of the Year from the International Intellectual Property Owners Association for Chrysler's 604 transmission. And whereas Maury Lysing was never elected to any public office in Clawson, but he supported the elections of several Clawson mayors, city council members, school board members, judges, and many other officials. His goal, to make the world a better place for us all to live in. And Whereas Maury Lysing's love for Clausen was evident in his 60 years of committed support to the Clausen 4th of July Committee to provide music for the Kiddies Day Parade, he set up a sound system to play marching band music from a 33 RPM record player hooked up to a pair of giant speakers mounted to the top of a vehicle. For over 40 years, he served as the chairman of the Freedom Run 5K and was the creator of the Firecracker Mile. And whereas Maury Lysing was appointed to serve on both the Clausen Planning Commission from 1967 to 1980 and to the Clausen Zoning Board of Appeals from 1980 to 2000, and whereas Maury Lysing has been an active member and past president of the Clausen's Lions since 1963, participating in projects such as White Cane Weekend with a garage full of balloons on sticks and multiple air compressors, and the construction of the first pavilion in Clausen Park. And whereas Maury Lysing served on the Clausen Koo-Foo-Poo Committee, clean up, fix up, paint up, glad you gave us that because I was really wondering what that might be. In 1970, Koo-Foo-Poo was a month-long program inspired by Earth Day, encouraging citizens to volunteer to spruce up our parks, common areas, and streets. The event was kicked off with a small parade from City Hall to Clausen Park, and again, Maury rolled out the marching band music from a city vehicle. And whereas Maury Lysing's love of community and his fellow human beings has led him to open up his home to newly wedded Vietnamese refugees and the occasional neighborhood child with a difficult home situation. And whereas Maury Lysing has held many titles and worn many hats, such as Citizen of the Year in 1974 and in 1997, he is most affectionately known and respected for his family titles as husband to his late wife Patricia, as a father to his children Mary Lynn, Bruce, and John, and as Popo to his grandchildren Lori, Abby, Holly, and Ben, and great-grandson Riker. Maury is still big brother to Larry, Carolyn, and Alan. Now therefore be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor, and speaking on behalf of the entire city of Clausen, I do hereby express our sincerest appreciation and gratitude to Maury Lysing for his life of service to the people and organizations of the city of Clausen. And the city of Clausen wish he and his family all the best in his future endeavors. There is also, that's the proclamation, so. Little tidbit that didn't quite fit in there. Maury and his late wife stepped up to lend a hand when a single mother with 3 children moved to town in mid-December of 1967. The family had missed registering with any of the local charities that brought them toys to needy kids, and this woman had nothing to give her kids for a Christmas. A friend of Maury's with the St. Vincent de Paul Society had been advised of these circumstances and shared with the Lysings the family's predicament. Maury and Pat rallied their friends and neighbors on December 23rd and gathered food, a Christmas tree, lights, decorations, toys, and gifts for the entire family. And upon delivery of the most welcomed care package, some heard a child ask if these people worked for Santa. I would say these people worked for God. But Maury, thank you on behalf of all of us for all of the public service that you have given our community. I know your name is highly revered among the parade committee. It's not a parade if you're not there, right? 4th of July. And then also the Lions, you're such an integral part and such an inspiration to all of them, which is seen by many of them are here tonight in honor of you, along with your family. So on behalf of the city of Clausen, I would like to present this proclamation to you. How's your day?
Actually, it's kind of bad.
I hope it wasn't my reading. Let's do a photo. Let's do it like this, and let's look at Nick and Clive.
Perfect.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Council here, and I would also love to get a photo with your family. I would love for your family to have an opportunity to take a photo,
Yeah.
if they would like.
So one of them is stuck with a car that's out
That's why it's not a good day. I get it.
today.
Well, there's some of them here, let's get them.
We do the family first?
Do the family first, yeah.
Do family first?
All right, I got a couple.
Now, next group. Sorry, make you smile all night. Make this better. Can you sit down? Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Okay, almost,
pardon?
almost.
Almost.
Yeah, and then you can tell us something great. Sounds like a good plan. Oh, you're fine, you're the star.
I'm a little unsteady.
Game face?
Lori, would you like to share any words with us? If you would, you'll have to come over here, but if you would like to, we would love for you to.
Okay.
And this is for you. Can I give that to you? Thank you.
Thank you, Paula, for all the
Oh, you're
efforts that go into this. The proclamation, it was kind of you to, and I appreciate all your work. It takes me back to when I was in 5th or 6th grade in Milroy High School, or Milroy School, and my mom had hired me a babysitter, and my little younger brother, who was 3 at the time, was also a part of the babysitting chore. The babysitter came, and she brought with her the work from her high school, the math class in her high school. She sits down and she starts working at it, and I sat down with her. And before it was over, I was teaching her the math from my 6th grade position to a high school. Fred Harrison, who was a member of my graduating class, he told me many years later that I was the only one that made him get his high school degree, because he could never have made it through math class without my help. And the weekday class study periods that we had at high school. I remember reading in the Hot Rod magazine a description of how the internal combustion engine works. The intake, the compression, the power stroke, and the exhausting of the, and I thought, geez, that's really clever work that they've made the 2 strokes of a piston to do all of the work necessary to make an engine that runs. It does. But I looked for somebody to talk to about it, but nobody understood it. So when I went on, graduated in 1953, and when I went to Purdue, my counselor came out and he asked me to come over and sit down. And he told me I would be in the lower third of my class. And I said, okay, whatever you say. I signed up anyway. And I did not end up in the lower third by a long shot. I signed up for a co-op group that the Purdue University had called together. They had 400 freshmen show up for this class, and they explained this new co-op program that they were starting. I listened, I picked up the papers, and I went off. And come the fall, I went back to school and turned in my paper. I was the only one of 400 students that got a job and went to school. And I eventually graduated in 1958 with 5 others who started not the first term, but the second term. And this year, there are 400 co-op students at Purdue. In '57, I interviewed with Chrysler, and I signed up with Chrysler because they had the Chrysler Institute of Engineering. In '57, I met my wife, Pat, on March 4th. We were engaged on April 29th, less than 2 months, and married in less than 6 months on September 11th. In 1958, Mary Lynn was born. In '62, Bruce was born. And in '65, John was born. I signed up with the Ramcharger Hot Rod Club at Purdue. The first car that we built in this Hot Rod Club was the High and Mighty. In 1959, this was 1 year after I had gotten there. It was in September at the Nationals in Detroit. Our car, on its first run, set a speed record for the class, and in the second year, we took the second place overall in the C class for both time and speed. I quit the Ramchargers in 1963 after 5 years, and I joined the 4th of July Committee in 1963. John F. Kennedy was president. I thought that was a good thing to remember. Chrysler's transmission control was the first job I had at Chrysler. And I put together a system for instrumenting and testing the various aspects of the transmission. And we sold it and we built it. And in 1964, and they used that system until 1993. The same instrumentation, the same high-speed traces, and I was always proud of that system. In 1964, transmission control and kick down to second were patents that I had at that time. And that transmission control system was basically all hydraulic, and all I had done was rearrange the passages to get it to work. In 1964 or 1965, I was made supervisor, and I started on the airbag program. And by 1968, we had built the first pyrotechnic managed air generator, and it passed a 30-mile-an-hour barrier test in 1968. This was 30 years before it made production in 19. Oh, no, don't. Yeah, 22 years before it made production. My math is not so good anymore. The airbag crash test was run with this gas generator, and the bag was a cloth bag, and it was a driver bag, and it was very similar to what ended up going into production in 1991. In 1970, we made a presentation to the Society of Automotive Engineers here in Detroit of this airbag system. But nobody wanted to spend any money on safety in 1970, or yeah. In 1973, I developed a passenger airbag to complement the other one, which was also had about the same 22-year delay. The presentation of the airbag was made at SAE, and my boss made the presentation. I was too young. In 1974, Clausen named me Citizen of the Year, as you mentioned earlier. In 1975, Chrysler was in pretty tough shape, and we had money problems. And we were on half-time for a couple of months while they tried to get control. My wife and I started a group of young folks on a drug prevention or a drug problem that we had in this town. We kept that going for about 3 years, And everybody on the committee was afraid of the liabilities that we were getting into while teaching things about drugs. They just got scared, and they closed that system down after 3 years. In 1980, we scheduled in 1976, we had a trip scheduled for Colorado, and that's when we started this other group. But we put together a transmission control with all of the electronics in a 3-speed transmission. And we had the trunk full of electronics. The transmission turned out to be in the numbers at the time were $600 for for a new transmission, and the average was $1,600 because of all the simplicity that comes when you go with electronics. You eliminate your valve body, and we had a good arrangement so that it was compact. Chrysler ran into money problems, and as we worked on this system, they moved the transmission to, they canceled my advanced development department at that time, and they moved the transmission to research to work on CVTs, continuously variable transmissions. And the PATS, Iacocca saw, this was in 1980, Iacocca solved most of our money problems. Chrysler was saved. And the 3-speed transmission that we were working on, they decided in '85 to make that a 4-speed transmission. And they launched the 4-speed transmission as the AA604 in 1989. The engineers on the hydraulic part of that transmission made some mistakes when they were designing it, and every transmission they made for 2 months was broke. Needless to say, electronics got blamed for that, even though we had nothing to do with it. The 3-speed was eventually changed to a 4-speed, and we worked on that 4-speed from '85 to '89. The major problem we eventually fixed by '93, but it took 3 years of current production to fix this mechanical problem, because they made a miscalculation on day one, and they had to retool the center shafts of the transmission to get them to work. by 93, we had the major problem fixed, and the northwest concept, where the transmission was not going east and south, from front wheel to front wheel. It was going from front to back. By that time, we had most of the major problems fixed, and there was only a seal ring break problem left. And we fixed those and still had substantial savings. From then on, most of the work that I did was adding features. The speed control system had features that would help, would allow shifting the transmission at much lower speeds and do it smoothly. From then on, it was pretty much maintenance work for us, with adding features and turning it around until today. And the presentation that you made earlier explains most of the rest of what I have done. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Photo, Maureen. Can we have the Lions Club come up? Anyone who's here representing the Lions, if you come up. And Maureen, will you come back for one more photo with your Lion brother and sisters? And then we'll go back to work. Okay? It's such a major part of his volunteerism, and this organization is so essential to our community. I just want them to be acknowledged as well. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. You're a blessing, and it's super encouragement. So if you're a member of the Lions Club or participate in their activities, come join in the photo. Get out of the photo. You guys can stay.
Let's try to squeeze in a little bit. Put that down. Smile, guys. Come on. Happy.
I'm on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you, everyone who participated in this part of this event, and certainly a life to be proud of. And we have no more precious assets in our community than our people. And anytime we can support one of them and celebrate them and what they've done for each of us in the community is like time well spent. So thank you for that. But we'll get back to business and pick up where we left off, which is item 8. Which is consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Item 8A is consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Items A and B are minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, September 16th, 2025, as presented, and a list of bills in the amount of $1,441,736.54.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving to item 9, under 9A, we have consideration of the proposal for the development of a Clawson City Park Master Plan and Hunter Community Center feasibility study.
Madam Mayor, I move the proposed quote for the development of a Clawson City Park Master Plan and Hunter Community Center feasibility study be awarded to Smith Group. Be approved.
Support.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In July, the Parks and Recreation staff and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee sent a request for quote to several area planning and engineering firms. The scope of work identified was a full master plan for City Park, as well as a feasibility study for the future of the Hunter Community Center. Knowing that a master plan for City Park would be needed to apply for grant funding and that one of the possible locations for the community center was City Park, it makes sense to look at both projects at the same time. The administration, along with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, received 4 quotes from OHM for $103,000, from Giffords Webster for $79,000, from the Smith Group at $60,235, and then Carlisle Wortman with AEW at $42,008. All were thoroughly reviewed, and collectively we are recommending to City Council that we proceed with the proposal from Smith Group. The team agreed that Smith Group's proposal was the most thoughtful, robust, inspiring, and will lead to an excellent path forward for the city of Clawson. Additionally, the Smith Group's proposal captured the innovation and excitement that we're hoping these projects bring to the community and to potential funders. We think that their new, unique viewpoints will bring something fresh and exciting to our little city with a big heart. The administration and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board respectfully recommend City Council approve the Smith Group proposal for $60,235.
Thank you. We have many members of our Parks and Rec Advisory Board here this evening, along with our Parks and Rec Department. Would anyone like to speak towards this?
We're all going to come up.
All together.
Good evening. My name's Melissa Prouse. I'm the chair of your Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee here in Clawson. And we all came tonight because we're all really excited about this project. And we wanted to make sure that council knew that and saw the support of the full committee here. We thoroughly reviewed all 4 of these proposals. They were all fantastic, but we unanimously agreed that the Smith Group proposal was the most robust, the most it was clear to us that they had spent a lot of time in the city. They'd spent time in the parks before they wrote the proposal. They had 2 pages or more, I think, of just really thoughtful questions and things to consider that maybe we hadn't even thought of. And we just thought that it really hit on all the things that we're hoping to achieve with this project, which will hopefully guide council's decisions in the future about funding these 2 amazing resources that we have here in the city.
Great. Well, could we please have everyone introduce themselves in case anyone doesn't know our Parks and Rec Advisory Board members?
Stephen Traxel. Alex Aprilli.
Clayton Cavallero.
Great.
That was just the board. Lisa Ball, Parks and Recs, Senior Services.
And I'm the guy that gets to work with this amazing crew, Scott Jennings, director.
Thanks.
So, and I just agree with what Melissa said. We really thought that the Smith Group's proposal stood out from the others, and we're excited about the possibility of, or possibilities that that lay before us, and really creating an activity hub for the people of Clawson.
Awesome. And you are all residents, and I'll speak the obvious, which is many times we look towards the bidding process and look for the lowest bidder, and you've made it clear that they did not come in as the lowest bidder, but you 100% support the additional amenities that they provide for the additional cost. You will all stand by that. It's important to me because I think people look at dollars, but dollars and services are not always the same. And I think it's critical that we look at what we're looking for, get what we want to purchase, as opposed to a low price. We've sat here and had issues with that in the past. I think we do it for our own, we're being consumers for ourselves. So I'm not trying to be daft. I just really want that to be known because I think it's very important that residents understand sometimes if we don't go lowest bidder, it's because we're getting something better for a better price, better service, hopefully. So, does anyone have any questions? Or does anyone else on your board or members have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to say it's been a great joy working with this team. Very smart people. I've learned quite a bit. And so when we bring something to you, it's been thought out and talked about among our team, and we feel this is the best choice for our city. We're keeping costs obviously in forefront of what we don't want to spend money without getting something in return. We felt that this company was offering there's money's worth, and things that you can't see on paper is what we felt good in our hearts about what the city could use, and we thought this is the best choice for us.
Thank you. Anyone else? No pressure. Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions?
So, of course, I do. I was just curious, because I agree, obviously, their paper presentation just was more vibrant, it was better than the other ones. Did you guys meet with them too, or did you just get paper proposals?
We didn't meet with them, we just got paper proposals. I know there are some firms that the city has worked with in the past. I personally, in my career, have worked with all of the firms in the past, can speak to Smith Group's just excellence in what they do. I also will say that I think that this is a steal to get Smith Group at this price. I think that they're very interested in getting into local community parks and recreation, and I think this is a great opportunity to invite them in and see what they can do.
So I don't know what you do. What do you do that you've worked with in the past?
For 2 more days, I'm the manager of planning and development for Oakland County Parks and Recreation, but soon to be the director of Parks and Rec in Huntington Woods.
Oh, cool. So you've worked with them in that capacity.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool to know. All right, and then the other question I have is reading through it, I was confused. It might just be me not knowing, but it sounded like in some places they were talking about moving the community center to the park. Is that the intention?
The intention is to do a feasibility study that examines where the best place in town would be if we are going to build a new center, or does it make sense to renovate Hunter? And we just recognize that that's the biggest property we own, so it might make sense for it to be there. So we're not trying to direct it there. It's just, that's one of the possibilities.
Okay,
Does that
so
make
I
sense?
just honed in on that because it freaked me out. But but there was one of the many possibilities that is in there.
Sure.
Okay, all right, cool.
And for clarity, this is a study, this would be studies. This is not, we have not decided to vacate Hunter, sell the property, or do anything. Nothing has been decided. This is purely beginning steps to figure out where the city moves forward in planning our future parks and recreation and commitment to the community for these type of events, buildings, facilities.
If I could just add one more thing too, just for the public, that there will be significant public engagement as part of both of these studies that we're having done. So there'll be a lot of opportunity to participate, come to a meeting, give feedback online. So this will be a very public, open process.
And the opportunities that they present back to us, are they going to give estimates of dollars and cents for what it would cost? Okay. all
High
right.
level, but yes.
Yeah, okay.
Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you all for taking time out of your Tuesday evening to come here, and thank you for what you did from the board standpoint of getting this information to us and for working on helping to make our community better. For all of us, thank you. Okay, if we have no other questions, let's have a roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes. So we've just agreed to award a community center feasibility study to the Smith Group, and that will take place, and you'll be hearing more about that in the future. Next item on our agenda is item 9B, which is consideration of a discussion of a potential ordinance to enable on-street parking.
Madam Mayor, I move to host discussion of a potential ordinance to enable on-street parking.
Second.
Mr. Ricker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At a previous council meeting, it was requested and the administration agreed to have on-street parking considered by the ordinance committee. In committee, the City of Berkeley's ordinance was provided and briefly discussed. It was determined that a discussion on the matter by the full council would be appropriate due to the history of the current no on-street parking enforcement from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. provided at the City of Berkeley's website outline information and their ordinance. The purpose of this discussion is to consider if there is interest by the council to develop a comparable ordinance for future consideration.
Okay. Comment?
If I may, Madam Mayor, I appreciate Mrs. Ruff for coming forward with her concerns and trying to champion this. Her rationale was one that I can appreciate. Having been over to see her property, it's clear that she is in need of something that will help alleviate her parking circumstances. And that led to greater conversations of how many other people are out there that may have a similar situation. I do want to make sure that, overall, we maintain our 6 a.m. or 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. parking enforcement, but I'd like to see what we can come up with that could give some of these, in a temporary situation, some of these families in certain circumstances, some relief. Now, whether that's a mirror of what Berkeley does or is more suited and tailored to what our specific needs as a community, I'd like to see what we can come up with. And if I may, one of the things I was thinking about was that if we're trying to attract families into our community who stay long-term, one of the concerns that they will encounter as they grow their family is that they will run out of space. And many times it's a vehicle on a property that didn't accommodate it before when they may have had a smaller size family. And that I don't want to see a situation develop where some families say, well, we've just simply outgrown our home, but if we could have some relief regarding parking, that may help provide them another opportunity to remain within our city.
Anyone else?
So,
Go ahead.
oh, well, I have some questions, and I would assume that Chief Baus would be the one to answer some of the questions about how we would go about writing this more specifically for our community. And one of the questions I was curious about whether, if we were to do a permit, would you envision the permit being issued for a house, this residence has a permit to park, and then in front of their house on the street, or would it be to specific license plates, because that's the way we could tie it to the people there? How would we, you get where I'm going, right?
Yeah, I do. So to be honest, this was just brought to my attention Monday, so I haven't had a lot of time to put some thought and research into this, but I'm definitely open-minded to it. I think it's something our community needs, and so I don't want to give a definitive answer, but just generally speaking, at first thought, I think it would be important to probably identify a specific vehicle that would be attached to the permit.
Or maybe I'm thinking, I have a fast pass for Indiana toll roads, right? And I can identify license plates associated with that pass. So maybe it would be something like that so that it's not.
So there's more than one associated to the pass because they register to the house.
Because one of the things they're trying to get away from is doing the 10 o'clock shuffle or whatever, right? So these are all the license plate for that house. And then the other thing that I think would be important is to make sure that the permit allows them to park like I was saying, in front of their house, not on any part in the street, right?
Or anywhere in the city.
Right. Fair point, right? That it would be where the licenses are permitted to that house. And then I have a bunch of questions. Can I just ask them?
Sure. Okay. Can I interject there for just 1 second, because this goes along with what you're saying? Yeah. So we don't own the frontage on our streets in front of our houses, and someone brought this to my attention today as a potential concern. If someone else puts their car there, if your neighbor has a party and they're there till whenever, or they do, as some of my neighbors have in the past, call and say, hey, we're parking on the street, even though it's in front of not their own home, what do we do then? We probably don't want our police department in the position of having to monitor potential feuds between neighbors or neighbors' visitors or whatever for that property in front of them, because I know for a fact you don't own that. Anybody can park in front of your house, and they can do it every day of the week if they choose to. You can't stop them. So if you have that pass and you can't use the front of your house because someone else is there, potential issue.
Yeah. I think what we're going to, I know you guys have Berkeley's ordinance, but I think it's going to come down to probably consulting with the city of Berkeley and their police department to see how they enforce things, and probably using some other examples, because they're not going to be the only one.
So to that end, given that our dispatch and all of that is through Troy, we would have to somehow loop in that they know who has the permits, right, as you guys are
No.
driving around, no?
No, so the way it works now is, so when people call to do permission, we have a digital list now. And we can add stuff onto it, or Troy can add stuff onto it, and the officers in their patrol car, we don't do the thing where they write on the list and like fax it over anymore.
Okay.
So
It's
the
been a long time
officers, when
since I
they're
called
out there,
Karen.
when the officers are out there, they can log right in to
Oh, that's
to
cool,
the
okay.
system and see the list. And so we can, like I said, we can add permissions to it. And so I don't know if we'll use that database, but we would use something to keep a running list of permits
That
and
makes
where
sense.
they're eligible to park, so.
Because it's 2025,
Yeah,
right?
we wouldn't need to loop them in for that, because this is something we'll just have on file and we'll know.
Okay, cool, that makes sense. And then the other, so just reading this permit, and or this ordinance, and I guess I get that it's just a model, but we were saying we would mirror some of the things. I was questioning the provision that talks about abandoned vehicles, because it says any vehicle parked over 48 hours is considered abandoned. But like I remember back in the day when I lived at my house and we could park in Warren and we could park in the street, right? Like sometimes the cars would end up, you just park it on the street and then everybody else goes in and out and whatever if you don't move for 2 days. I mean, is that something that you would consider not incorporating, or how would you feel?
Yeah, there are other things that go into evaluating whether a car is abandoned, like is the license plate properly registered and up to date? Is it insured properly, which we can now see when we run a license plate that's been going on for a couple years now. Hasn't moved in the last few hours. I mean, there's a difference between, okay, somebody parked it there for the weekend. I sometimes do that with my own car, because you're not going anywhere, or you get a ride with somebody, or has it been sitting there for 2 weeks not moving? So there are other things we can evaluate.
And then the other thing that it goes on to say is that they couldn't park during a snow emergency, so, which makes sense because you can't
Yeah.
anyhow, but then if they can't park in their street, then, or in their driveway, then they can't park in their driveway. It's just something to consider. They'd have to make some other accommodation during a snow emergency.
Yeah, that would-
And then my last question was, I read in here that, because someone had sent in the question about apartments, and I thought it was a very well thought out question, because we have parking issues in the apartments, but it talked about in here that that they could only be issued to single-family or two-family residents, and that might be a question for Nick. I don't know what a two-family, is that like a bungalow or like?
It'd be like a duplex or townhome, which,
So a townhome or like one of those houses where there's two stuck together?
so we define it as an attached single family. So if there's two dwelling units in like one building, if that makes sense.
Okay, so that's like an income house?
Just a duplex is what I would consider it. So if like there's two families living under one roof, but they're totally separate units.
Totally separate addresses, but one building?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so that wouldn't be a townhouse, like a row townhouse or anything like that. It would, I get, the intention, which is well thought out, was to not include any kind of apartment complex or like commercial complex. And so does that definition sort of preclude that?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
if that's the direction we're going, it should just be before single-family homes.
Okay. That concludes my questions.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you may need to evaluate this in conjunction with the short-term rentals. I assume a natural choice, anyone who has short-term rental would want that permit. We may or may not want that, so just something to think about.
The other item that came to mind, I think I read it from someone who wrote to us regarding those addresses that have no parking on their side of the street, and what we can do as far as designating those areas. And it kind of goes back to, okay, where do they go if they have that situation that we deem, and we'll have to come up with a criteria that's fair and equitable, or as far as what constitutes a need as opposed to just a desire. Because I'd much rather have a higher threshold in order for them to meet that.
Yeah, there'll have to be parameters, like the vehicles have to be registered to the home, so, because we can see how many vehicles are registered to a house. Is there room in the driveway? I mean, there'll be things that we'll have to consider when we put together this ordinance and evaluate. But yeah, I mean, we're never going to give permission to park in a fire lane. So if you live on a street that has a fire lane right in front of your house, you'll never have permission to park directly in front of it, so.
The other thing is regarding the proceeds from that. I'd like to see that and make sure it goes towards the maintenance of the program and then also possibly designated for street repair.
So I'm sorry I lied. I said that was the last of my questions, but you reminded me of something that someone else said, because if parking is prohibited on one side of the street, it's not fair for the people on the other side of the street to be able to have permits. And so those are some of the caveats that we'll have to incorporate to, just take all those sorts of things in consideration. So if that street has only one side of parking, then no one gets it on that street, those kinds of things. Does that seem reasonable that you would want to include that in there?
I mean, I don't know that, I think we just have to evaluate it further and see what some of the other cities do, how they've, done troubleshooting for some of those issues.
Cool.
Well, it seems to me if a road is a fire lane, it must remain a fire lane 24 hours a day.
Well, obviously, but some streets where you can't park on just one side of the street, but you can park on the other,
Right.
and it's not fair to let the people who aren't on the prohibited side have permits, because those,
Okay, the
that
person who bought that house knew up front, oh, God, guess what? I'm in a fire lane. I guess I can't park here. Again, we can debate these details later. But, and I don't blame you. I'd like to be as fair as possible, but
we're talking apples and oranges here.
we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
I mean, we're talking about a lot of details here, and I think
Exactly.
what we want to do is have it evaluated, and then come back, and if there's something that we think of that may be missing, we can talk about it then. I mean, I could bring up other things too. I was thinking of campers and trailers. Those don't apply.
Well, those are outlined in this example.
Sample
They're in
from
here,
Berkeley,
right.
I
So I'm
understand.
just taking the sample and then applying questions that I think would be pertinent to our city.
So I think, to me, I think we should evaluate. We should take a look at it and see what you come up with after talking to others. And I think it would make sense to provide some relief for some of the folks in our city.
So when this has come up in the past, the reason for us sticking to this limited parking in the street is for safety for the police department.
Yeah,
What
so-
is the police department's view on this?
I mean, I kind of agree with what Councilmember Shepherd said. I'm kind of, my thoughts are along those same lines, but, historically, research shows that vehicles parked on the street are more likely to be stolen, are more likely to be hit by other vehicles, and are more likely to be vandalized in general. I mean, I think as we progress as a community and as a nation, people have become more brazen in how they commit crimes, and they're committing them while your vehicles are parked in the driveway. So I don't know what current statistics would say without looking them up, but those are the original reasons. That, and we can see straight down a street. Like I worked, I think, 12 years of midnights, and it's very easy to see straight down our streets. They're well lit, so that's helpful because we don't have dark streets. But with no cars on the street, it's easy to see if there's suspicious people or anything you have to be concerned with. And once you have cars parked everywhere, it makes it a little harder to see at night, but, those are some of the concerns that are brought up.
I mean, again, we're not talking about cars parked everywhere though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
they'll
going to be
just-
certain needs. I mean, we can't be giving these out to just everyone who wants one.
Right.
Right?
Well, it has to be written so that you're not giving them out to everyone, because
imagine
otherwise,
we-
how do you, this is the other thing, how do you say yes to one person and no to another? I mean, it has to be written so that you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, I mean-
But,
Exactly.
I don't know, I might have an issue if my neighbor gets one and then I just want one for convenience. We're down, thank God, we're not doing that shuffle anymore, but when people are over, we do it, and if someone decides to spend the night, we do it, or,
I would be curious to see how many people really need this, because for working, in this community for almost 21 years, I can just think of time and time and time again that houses have needed this, so there is a need. And we tell them to park their cars, the opposite way across their driveway so that they're not in violation. That also doesn't look very nice, being parked that way, because I know it comes up so much. I'm curious, how many are these? How many people need this, and how many are we gonna have to consider giving out? I don't know what the need would be, but I think it might be greater than we're anticipating.
Well, I
think
think
you're
whatever we do, we've probably come up with a maximum limit. Just like,
Well,
there can
then-
be no more than 50 permits issued any given year.
But is that fair too? And then let's say, so then we assign a dollar amount to it, $500 I think theirs is 400. That's nothing, like, not that it's nothing, but I don't know, that's the kind of money that people will be like, I'll take one too. You know what I mean? Like, you'd come up with $400 to do that too. I think it needs to be an amount that is enough that makes you think, is this worth it to me? So that you don't have 50 people wanting to do it. And then you get into the point of, I pay for these roads, I pay for all of this stuff already, why do I have to pay to park in front of my own house? Like, there's just so many things to it. I think when we talked about it at the ordinance committee meeting, and I was like, oh no, this goes to city council, that because there are way too many nuances to this to make sure that we get it right. But I think the most important thing is to know that the community really needs it, and that we'll be helping people out with it, and not necessarily hurting ourselves in the process, because it is nice to not see stuff in the street, and it is nice to know when there's someone, that's not supposed to be there, when you look out, when you hear something at night. I mean, those things are things that people who've been in this community forever count on. They count on that security and the stability that not having parking on the street provides. But
And I think
again, we've had 5 cars and can only park 4, and we did that end of the driveway thing for a while, and it wasn't fun.
And that's your
we survived.
temporary perspective, right? And I agree that it should be a temporary, not something that's in perpetuity, that's renewed every year, right? Because I don't want to see that.
Yes, sir?
So as I mentioned, the intent is to see if there's an interest, and it seems that there's an obvious interest. And so what we could do is the administration can take this back internally, work with the city attorney to develop language and bring it back for future consideration.
Did you take good notes? So you understand the key points we were discussing here? Because we're going to kick this is going to be a short-term rental.
Good thing we're
Guarantee you.
recorded.
It's going to be a short-term rental issue. Back and forth, because it needs to be right, and there's a good reason for it, but it does need to be right as well. So, if there are no other questions, we'll let you go, Chief Baus. Thank you very much for your time. And do we need to do anything else? We send it to the city manager or city attorney? We're good, right?
We got it for action.
Okay, perfect. Then we'll move on to the next item, which is item number 10, unfinished business. Do we have any? Good answer. And then we'll move to item 11, which is public comments for items that are not on our agenda this evening. So again, for public comments, we welcome you to approach the microphone. We'll allot you 3 minutes. We'll ask you to give your name and address, and then the council and administration will not be engaging with you at this time, but if you'd like to meet with anyone after the meeting, we'd be happy to speak with you. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Carol Kolinsky, and I reside at 817 Phillips Avenue. It has been 6 months since my last city council meeting, and I'd like to bring up again the concern of people speeding down the street, as well as not stopping at the stop signs. I'm out all the time with the dogs, and certainly there are other people who are walking, and there's kids, and people regularly blow through the stop sign at Bywood and Phillips. They don't even bother stopping, let alone slowing down or actually stopping. And it's just a concern for me because, there could be issues with people getting hit by the car or, heaven help us, somebody dies. And I really think that it's incumbent upon this city to put maybe a police officer just to monitor the situation and give people tickets. Hit them in the pocket. $130 ticket, maybe points on their record, an increase in their insurance premium, or an arrest if they don't bother paying. So I really think that's a very important thing to keep the city safe. And also to include a study or install speed humps on the street between Darby Court and Kinross, because there is no stop sign between Crooks and Bywood, and people regularly speed right through the street. And it's so concerning for me and the rest of my neighbors in the neighborhood. So I appreciate another review of the stop signs as well as the speed bumps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Scott Manning, 442 North Marias, coming as pastor of the United Methodist Church here in town to say how much we appreciate the police department. not this Sunday we just came from, but the week before when the attack on the Latter-day Saints Church in Grand Blanc. We had one of the officers who came to our church to do a welfare check and to inform us of what took place in Grand Blanc. That care that we see from the police department here and reaching out where they don't have to. I serve another church in another city, and no law enforcement showed up in that location to inform us of what was going on, which happened while I was at the other church. So I stand to give appreciation to our police department for the work they are doing, especially when they go the extra mile for stuff they don't have to do.
Thank you. Always nice to hear good things.
Good evening. I'm Julie Beatty. I live on Bywood Avenue, North Bywood Avenue. For 11 years, I have reported sewage backups in severely flooded streets and yards at Bywood and Broadacre Avenue. I've spent 11 years of good faith efforts advocating for infrastructure that meets the needs of a rapidly changing climate. Last week, I waited nearly an hour for an Army Corps of Engineers meeting that was promoted in this very chamber and advertised on the city website. The meeting never happened, and there was no explanation as to why or rescheduling that I know of. In July and August, the city conducted a sewer inspection at my corner. I've requested that footage multiple times. I've submitted engineering requests to stop runoff and flooding yards and basements during storms. I've gotten one-sentence responses this summer or silence from the DPW. I've raised concerns about the approval of four large homes on a sewer line in a low-lying area that already fails, and I have not received explanation on how that property was assessed for capacity of water. I've requested meetings with the officials in Public Works, and those have not yet been scheduled. Meanwhile, the city continues approving home construction, raising our sewer rates, and collecting infrastructure bond taxes, while flood-prone neighborhoods like mine and Elmsford have not seen change. This isn't fixing a pothole, it's raw human sewage in people's basements. It's my 80-year-old neighbor's yard and house who lives on a fixed income. It's a public health hazard, it's property damage, and it's legal liability. With the election approaching, let me be direct. If you said to me, whether in person or an email, that there's nothing you can do, you have not earned my vote. I, as a private citizen, have communicated with city, county, and state officials on the issue, and I wish you would do something. The lack of communication isn't just frustrating, it feels deceptive and demoralizing. I'm asking for the inspection footage, an explanation of why the meeting was canceled and if we could reschedule, a meeting with DPW and engineers, and written answers regarding how those homes were approved with the consideration of the failing sewers. 11 years is a long time, and patience is a finite resource. You have the power to solve this, and I'm asking you to use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Council. I'm going to be completely honest, I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous.
As you can probably tell, I am a teenager. I forgot my address. I live on 410 Charlotte Avenue, which isn't exactly in Clawson, but I do spend most of my time in Clawson. I do care about a lot about this city. I spend majority of my time at Clawson Skate Park, and there has been some damage done there that the city hasn't fixed up yet. I've been trying to reach out to people of Parks and Rec, literally just anybody a part of the government to help fix up the skate park, because there's parts that are falling apart, and it is making it hard to not only land tricks, but it's also made it so me and other people have gotten hurt from getting stuck in a crack, or people throwing dirt into the park because there's so much loose dirt around the edge of it. And I would just appreciate if you guys could take a look into fixing it up, or just putting in, I don't even know, just fixing it up a little bit to make it a better environment, because I would really like to see more people go there. And I've seen more people leave there because of the state that it is in. So, and I would really like to bring more people to Clawson, especially if that's the reason. The skate community it has a bad rap, but it's honestly probably one of the best communities that I've ever found myself in. So better the skate park, better the Clawson community, I guess. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you. Jamie Gills, Takanouchi. I'm here tonight to talk about the campaign Clausen, a collective town hall. Let me be clear. I wholeheartedly support the idea of this event. Clausen residents have been asking for more transparency and a real opportunity for meaningful input. A town hall that brings together multiple city groups to discuss accomplishments and future goals is an excellent way to start achieving those goals. This should be celebrated as an annual event. However, the timing of this event is fundamentally inappropriate. This is the first time in my memory that an event of this scale is being held, and that the fact that it is scheduled less than a month before an election where every single council person is running for office creates an undeniable appearance of impropriety. With 6 seats open and 14 candidates running, holding a city-sponsored forum now has the effect of a de facto campaign rally. It can appear that our city, using taxpayer time, property, and dollars, is promoting incumbent candidates over the full slate of people running. This is a potential misuse of city resources and is simply not fair to the voters or to the other candidates. We can fix this and make this event truly memorable and valuable. I propose that we shift the timing to make this an annual strategic planning tool. Move it to February, March, the time of year where we set our strategic goals and our budget. This allows residents to offer input before the strategic plans and budgets are finalized, giving citizens actual influence over the direction of our city. Because of the inappropriate timing, I have 3 urgent calls to action. Number 1, I call on every candidate running for office to show integrity and publicly commit to not attending or participating in this event until the date is moved. Number 2, I call on the invited city departments and groups to push back on the administration and refuse to participate until a post-election date is set. And finally, I call on the citizens of Clausen to reach out to the city administration to let them know we want this event. We do. But we want it done right. We want it to be about our city's future and not about November's election. Let's make this event count. Let's make it annual. Let's make the timing appropriate. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll close public comment and move to our city clerk's report. Michelle?
Thank you. I just will make everyone, let them know that the absentee ballots were mailed out on September 25th. If you were expecting a ballot and haven't received one, please contact our office. We have received some back. We try to contact the voter if it comes back to us. Just a reminder to all those that are completing absentee ballots to make sure you sign and seal the envelope before returning to our office. It helps. We do get several unsigned, and we cannot process without a signature. So make sure you take care of signing and sealing. Our drop box is 24/7 in the vestibule here on the south side of the building that you can drop your ballot in if you don't want to mail it through the USPS. Also, there's a drop box in City Hall next to the clerk's desk. Early in-person voting will begin on October 25th through November 2nd at the Troy Community Center. And as of right now, we've mailed 2,607 absentee ballots and received back 257. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Newshine, do you have a city attorney report for us this evening?
Madam Mayor, we're defending a few matters as we reported recently, and some of them are percolating through the court system at the very tail end of their life. I'll have more for council probably at the next meeting. But barring any questions, I have nothing additional.
Thank you. Mr. Raker, how about a city manager's report?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we had our own Tuesdays with Maury, so that was nice. He did call me twice before the meeting. He asked me what to wear. I simply told him what not to wear. And he asked me, how long can I speak? And I said, as long as he wants. So he delivered. So sewer cleaning and inspection continues, and we are currently at 87% complete with a citywide televising and cleaning of our sewers. I'm happy to share that the initial CCTV program of our city will be complete this calendar year to the point where we can move forward with confidence, knowing what needs to be addressed. The program is winding down pending several locations that still need to be done, revisited, or are the county's responsibility. So with strong leadership from AEW and DPW, we are staying on track. As we previously briefed the public in support of the infrastructure improvement bond last year, we set aside $10 million of that bond money for anticipated sewer repairs. Though we do not yet have the final number, we are tentatively estimating about $4 million for needed sewer repairs, which can translate into the remainder being used for additional projects that did not make the prioritization list. Please visit the city's website under Department of Public Works and Engineering, and then look under Cleaning and Televising Sewers for the latest updates. To Mayor Pro Tem Susan Moffitt, during a recent public forum hosted by the League of Women Voters, which can be located on YouTube, you made the following statement, and I will quote, "I know a plethora of elected officials and people outside the community. They actually say some derogatory things about our lack of diligence in applying for grants. I found this statement ambiguous and inaccurate, so I'd like to give you the opportunity to publicly elaborate. Who are these public officials that would say this? And who are these people outside the community making such statements? When was this shared with you? Why didn't you communicate this with me and your colleagues on council each time it occurs, since there is a plethora of incidents per your own word? Never once an email or on this dais have you shared this alleged shortcoming of this administration. Instead, you have either made it up or you kept it to yourself to use at that later date. And if the latter is true, your lack of timeliness and transparency doesn't brief well publicly. And speaking up on this evening because I cannot in good conscience let the accusations of distrust, discredit, and distortion go unchecked. For the record, this administration continues to pursue any applicable grant opportunity that we are aware of, and from when I started in March of 2022, the city has been awarded over $5.5 million in grants. We take advantage of every opportunity we can to defray any cost improvements and operations of the city. Shifting gears, I'd like to congratulate Scott Jennings from the Recreation Department and the Clawson Chamber of Commerce for hosting a joint event of the Claws and Paws along with Fall Fest at the end of September. According to Mr. Jennings, we had almost 2,000 attendees there. Last council meeting, I did mention a collective town hall meeting and asked you to mark your calendars. We promoted this event as Campaign Clawson. I regret to share with the public that Campaign Clawson, which is to be introduced next Tuesday, will be rescheduled for a date yet to be determined. Campaign Clawson has been a term I use within the task force between the city and the school district as a placeholder for the need to promote this community. All entities, the city, school, library, DDA, and chamber are now pulling in the same direction. Campaign Clawson is an idea or a mindset or a philosophy to create an energy and movement for everyone to express their positive desire to bring residents, students, business owner operators, and business patrons to Clawson. There's a lot to be accomplished. There's a lot that's been accomplished and much work on the near horizon. Again, this was to be introduced next Tuesday, but is now canceled, and let me explain why. My only professional peer working within this community is Clawson Schools Superintendent Billy Schellenbarger. He and I have worked closely together since I arrived in March of 2022, and I think it is obvious to this community how well the city and district work now together. Last week, I was informed that Billy had fallen seriously ill. As a military man, and in the face of this new challenge, I still wanted to press on and hold the town hall. Billy's staff was ready to support, and no doubt it would have been an internal testament to our collective administrative resilience. Over the weekend, I gave it greater consideration, and moving forward without Billy isn't necessary. This would be the first time bringing together these entities, and Billy deserves to be there. Billy's been my partner in all this, and getting everyone to pull in the same direction wouldn't happen without him. I know he doesn't need the recognition or be out front and center. I simply realize I'm not being a good community partner to him by forcing this to continue. We agreed we will look at rescheduling this collective town hall meeting after the auditorium is complete or in conjunction with the third annual joint meeting of the district and city. I do anticipate that the content of our presentation for Campaign Clausen will be available to the public on October 14th. Pending any questions, that's my brief.
Any questions? Okay, thank you. Councilmember Scott, do you have council comments this evening?
Not tonight.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
So campaign finance laws prohibit the use of this dais to discuss anything in relation to the election. And since the League of Women Voters event was relative to the election, it is inappropriate not only for the city manager or myself to opine on any of the statements that were made during that election-based event. If Mr. Riker would like to discuss election issues with me personally, he has my cell phone number. Additionally, I'd like to mention that the Chamber of Commerce is holding a euchre event this Friday at Shields Pizza. It starts at, I think, 5:30. The game starts at 6:30. It's $35 to play and have dinner, and euchre's always fun, and it's a great event. I hope to see you there.
It's also $25 if you just want to go eat food. Just for the record. Do you have anything, Councilmember Anderson?
No, I don't comment.
How about you, Councilmember Shepherd?
Just one thing has been brought to my attention, and I see it almost every day. So Yankee Stadium was built in 352 days, but for some reason, we can't have a building owner put up a brick wall in 4 months. So I'm hoping that the 410 South Main can be addressed quickly, because it's become a very, and I brought this up before, it's been a very problematic, dangerous situation for people to try and walk on that sidewalk that doesn't exist, because that construction is, I don't know when it originally started, but it's at least been 4 months. So I'm hoping that we can get that addressed.
We met with the property owner, I believe last week, or within the last week or two, to discuss more of a timeline to get that done before more time passes. So we're aware of that, yes.
Other than that, I would like to comment that I'm really appreciative of the tree program and the work that we've been able to accomplish as administration, and the organization that we're using. And I think that we'll be starting to see some good progress in putting those trees in some areas that have long needed that. And hopefully we can get the momentum continued for this season and next season. So I thank the administration for that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Madam, to the city attorney, is there anything stopping Pro Tem from answering my questions?
That was a true statement with respect to campaign finance law. I don't know that I can qualify because I'm not aware of the statement.
Simply
personally.
what I quoted.
Campaign finance laws prohibits using this dais in these chambers for anything relative to the election, and the League of Women Voters event was an election-based event, and my comments in that event were relative to my candidacy on the November 4th.
However, they were false?
I think we have
Point of privilege, I don't think it is appropriate for the city manager to use this opportunity to try and disparage his least favorite candidate.
Are you finished? I know.
Gave her the opportunity to clear her name, but I guess not.
We talked about the clause and pause briefly. I just want to say that having done that for a couple of years, hats off again to our Parks and Rec Department and for Chamber of Commerce, Administration, Fire Department, Police Department, DPW, our administration, all the volunteers who showed up. Lisa, we missed you. We made bracelets without you this time, just so you know. All of the residents who came. I know one of the police officers went home with not one but 2 dogs, so it was successful for the dog people. And I want to really say thank you to the Mavericks for having a game-filled day that brought us a lot of visitors who were not from the city of Clawson, who came by to enjoy all of our events. And I feel like that was just like really a little bit of extra on top of all of that. And it was beautiful weather, unless you were standing by the fire because it was way too hot for that, for that hot weather and the fire, but it was beautiful. And then, as mentioned earlier, Trick or Treat Trail, Saturday the 18th, 6 to 7:30 p.m. If you want to pass out candy, contact Penny Lubes. I'm sure she has room for you there. Also on Saturday the 25th, the DDA will have a Trick or Treasure downtown Clawson. If you would like to participate in that, if you are not a business within the DDA, there's an opportunity for you to pay, and then you can also pass out candy. They'll give you a table to do that. Also that day is our Pumpkin Crawl. Registration begins from 6 to 7. It's $25 if you register in advance, $35 on the day of the event. I think this was a great meeting. We got to celebrate someone who has a lifelong service to our community. We got to hear really interesting pride in what he did for his job, and we all came together and got to enjoy something and move forward on Parks and Rec and a couple of other things. So thank you all for showing up today. Thanks for being part of something that's good and making Clawson better. Would someone like to make a motion to dismiss?
Motion to adjourn.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moffett?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
Mallory McMurrow, that was the person who indicated the politician who spoke to us about the grants that Clawson is losing. Mallory McMurrow.
There's actually yet another politician who,
Yeah.
for her own
Just,
confidentiality.
if you want it, that's the name.
There's a